Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
This video contains spoilers for Frank Herbert's Dune and the 2021 and 2024 Denis Villeneuve Dune movies.
Hello and welcome to this video. I have finally gotten around to doing my thoughts and opinions on the Denis Villeneuve Dune movies. To get where I am to do this video, I had to take some time just to kind of gather my thoughts and chill, because this series of books were part of my childhood growing up. The 6 books are probably in their entirety, I would still say, pretty damn close to impossible to be filmed. Though Villeneuve did a pretty good job with what he had to work with. I think I've stated it in one of my other Dune videos that this book, Dune, the first book, you could probably make a 3 or 4 hour movie out of each and every chapter in this book. So there are a lot of things that get cut. I also will probably, at some point, we will go into speculation. I will do my speculation on what HBO, Warner Brothers, DC, Discovery, that conglomerate may do. Villeneuve has already said he only wanted to do Dune and Dune Messiah, which makes sense, because, well, yes and no. Dune is a standalone story for the most part. It ends in such a way that you can call it an ending, but it's also open enough to build on, which Herbert did with Messiah, Dune Messiah, Children of Dune, God Emperor Dune, Heretics of Dune, Chapter House Dune. I have a feeling that Warner Brothers, HBO, DC, Discovery Channel conglomerate, this is going to be their Star Wars. They're already working on Dune Prophecy, which is loosely adapted from the Brian Herbert books, Frank Herbert's son. And I have a feeling that if it makes enough money, that they'll start exploring Children of Dune, God Emperor of Dune, Heretics of Dune, and Chapter House Dune, which are not, in my opinion, I don't think they can come up to the standard that Villeneuve did for the 2 movies that he did for the first Dune book. Just because, the philosophy, when you hit Dune, God Emperor Dune, Frank Herbert turned the knob on philosophy and weirdness from about a 4 or 5 to about a 13 or 14. I mean, he cranked that weirdness and philosophy way up there. So, and it's interesting. We will also go into the changes that Villeneuve made from the book, and why I'm of a split opinion on them. The first Dune movie he did, 2021, he did a really good job. There's things that he left out that I understand why he left out. Huey, his whole backstory, his thing with his wife, the different things that the Sikh doctors could do and couldn't do, because that, like I said, that in itself, the fact we see Huey give Paul possibly the Orange Catholic Bible, which plays, it's the Orange Catholic Bible in and of itself does not have the Bible itself does not affect the story. It is a good expositional prop. It allows for certain things in the story to happen, but it isn't central to the story. We don't get a lot of the stuff on the Mantet, Fufarth. Oof, yeah. We don't get a lot of him. We don't get him after the fall of the Atreides. In the book, he plays a significant role in setting up House Harkonnen for their fall. We don't get Fade in the first movie, because all of these elements, as a bibliophile, I love them. I can sit and I can read like that, read stories that have those subplots within subplots within subplots. Enjoy it. But when you're trying to put that on the film, for most part in America, people I have found tend to be a lot really bibliophobic, and us bibliophiles are not in the mass majority. Then you further break us down into our little subgenre of bibliophile as science fiction. So, you know, you have a predominantly bibliophobic mass population that you have to kind of cater to, because the studio wants their money. They want their monies. And I understand why he did it. Like I said, the rational, intellectual part of me agrees with it. Like I said, the bibliophile will always will be long to the grave pissed at this. But I digress. Zendaya makes a wonderful Chani. Though she comes in second as far as my castings of Chani or Chani, depending on how you want to pronounce it. I'm going to use both pronunciations interchangeably because I'm weird like that. But Chani, the Chani that I think is closest to the book Chani is the one in the 2001 Sci-Fi Channel presentation of Dune. just her looks, her mannerisms. But Zendaya's pretty damn close as far as second. And Sean Young in the Lynch movie is a distant third. She's third because there's no one else. I like Sean Young as an actress. Loved her in Blade Runner. So yeah, it's just, she's white girl. Pure and simple. Standard issue white girl. And that's not Chani. Timothy Chalamet is probably my number one pick for Paul. Despite, I think he's in his mid-20s or early 20s, but he has that I'm still 16 look about him. The casting of Jason Momoa as I want to say Gurney Halleck, but it's not Gurney. That's Isaacs. Oh, my brain's locking up. I hate it when that happens. Because I'm currently reading God Emperor Dune. But the casting of Jason Momoa in that role, it's going to come to me. I hate it when this happens. Because in Messiah, he comes back as a Gola. Basically the Dune universe equivalent of a clone. And kind of Frank Herbert's interpretation of a Gollum. Duncan Idaho. I knew it would come to me eventually. Don't know why I blanked out on that, but Jason Momoa as Duncan Idaho physically makes it. For how Villeneuve adapted the story, his casting is perfect for the Villeneuve interpretation of the universe. Because Jason Momoa is one of those very, very lucky actors who has a skill set of him acting isn't him acting. It's him being himself reading a script. There are very few actors that have that skill. John Wayne was one of them. It's like I said, you're going to be hard pressed. I'll probably think while I'm going through, but they don't really act. Christopher Lee was another one of those actors. Wonderful actor. But Christopher Lee didn't act. Christopher Lee was being Christopher Lee reading a script. And it was just, especially in the Lord of the Rings movies. The Three Musketeers movies and Four Musketeer movies that he did in the 70s, 1970s. Same way. If you pull it up side by side, it's Christopher Lee, different costume, different script, same actor. It's the same thing. But Momoa has that. Jason Isaacs as Gunny Herlock. Gunny Herlock. My tongue is not working. Is another excellent. Actually, all of the casting is pretty spot on. Yeah, it's one of those movies. We're still talking about the first part, yeah. It's pretty good. They deviate from the book, not so much as in coming up with their own things to put into the movie. They deviate from the book because you only have the studio's only got to let you have X amount of minutes to do the movie. You're not going to be able to do, an 8 or 10 hour movie, which you could do easily just on the first half book. Then we came back in 2024 and came in with the second part. The changes he made as far as making Chani ambivalent of Paul's messianic role don't happen in the book. In fact, Chani is Bene Gesserit. She's in training to become a Reverend Mother. And it's basically after Jessica ascends to the position of Reverend Mother, she kind of takes Chani under her wing and ensures that Chani and Paul make babies, but she also educates Chani, Jessica educates Chani in the fact that Paul needs to be in a position where he can be part of a political marriage. That she would be the mother of his children, and whoever he married would be a cuckwin. And Chani was cool with it. And it's just the changes he made to Chani's character is another one of those things where as a moviegoer, as logical understanding that, Warner Brothers wants their monies, I understand the change that he made, and I understand the reluctance of her to believe that he is the Muad'Dib, the Mahdi, the Kwisatz Haderach. That is necessary because the audience, the non-literate, the bibliophobic audience needs to understand what Paul is becoming. And they can do that through Chani's eyes, because Chani is in love with him. And Chani, at this point, has become the audience perspective. One of the things they left out, and I can only assume it was a time thing, is, well, first of all, there's in the book, from the time that Paul defeats Jameis at the end of the which was at the end of the first movie, and becomes part of the Fremen, there's a 2-year time jump. And in that 2-year time jump, Alia's born, and she freaks out a bunch of people. Alia, the 2-year-old murder baby. I understand why Alia was not in this version, because I don't know about other places in the world, but I do know in America, a 2-year-old murder baby, it wouldn't fly real well at the public. They just not going to do real well with a 2-year-old murder baby. Now, what I don't understand is, unless it's part of the whole divisiveness between Chani and Paul, but in the book, Chani gets pregnant and they have a baby. The Harkonnens, when they attack the siege, and kill a bunch of the actually, let's back up a little bit. Fade replaces Roban as the governor of Arrakis. And in the book, they find out where one of the sieges are. They attack it, and it kind of pretty much plays out the way it does in the movie. Chani's best friend massacres a bunch of Harkonnens. Fade captures and kills her. But you have Paul and Chani's first child, their baby, Leto, the first, Leto the second, which gets confusing. And when they murder, I mean, they straight up butcher him. Yeah, infanticide is something else I don't think the American people would be real readily to handle in this day and age. You know, infanticide and 2-year-old murder babies, yeah. Not something the American people would be real good with. Like I said, I don't know how people in other places on the globe would take it, but I am pretty sure that a 2-year-old murder baby and infanticide, bloody, merciless infanticide, would not fly well. And that is what sends Paul into a rage. This is what gets Paul to decide, I am done with the Harkonnen bullshit, and it's game time. And and that's when they attack Arrakeen. They hit it with the nukes, they hit it with the worms, they hit it with the Fremen army. And in the book, Alia kills the Baron. In the movie, Paul kills Baron Harkonnen. But because, and this, and I can see, like I said, I understand for the movie studio, the financier people, and the accountants and the runtime and stuff, but Alia's whole story being born basically with the intelligence of every woman in her bloodline all the way back to Mother Eve. She's born, she comes out of the womb, boom. By the time she's 2 years old, she's walking, talking. She's about the size of about a 6-7-year-old. And she takes part in a lot of the reindeer games that the other Fremen children take place in. In fact, at the Battle of Arrakeen, when the Fremen basically overthrow the Emperor, they overthrow the House Harkonnen, and she's out. Alia, 2-year-old Alia's out with other Fremen children, killing and taking the water of any of the wounded on the battlefield. Both Imperial, Harkonnen, and Fremen. Anyone that is wounded to the point where they can't, where they're going to die, or can't help themselves. Boom. Like I said, she's out there doing it, having fun doing it too. And this is where she gets the title of Alia of the Knife. And as she grows, she becomes Saint Alia of the Knife. But see, none of that happens, because if they were to go into Alia, her freaking people out, because she could, she has all this knowledge, and she has the prescience vision, powers of prescience. This just does, even the allies, the Fremen, are kind of weirded out by Alia. And the Fremen aren't, they aren't, delicate flowers. So yeah, it's, Alia's doing, just, so yeah, that whole thing with Alia is, like I said, part of me understands it. It's like, okay, we can retcon it off screen when Villeneuve does the next movie, which I hope Villeneuve hope he just titles it Dune Part 3. Doesn't try to throw the Messiah in there, because he has deviated enough from the story that he can realistically carry the same themes, same messages, and not have to be encumbered by the title of Dune Messiah. There's a 12-year time jump between the end of Dune and the beginning of Dune Messiah. So when Villeneuve, I wonder if Villeneuve, how he's going to handle that, because in the second Dune movie, we don't get the 2-year jump so we don't have Alia. We have Alia in the womb talking to Paul and talking to her mom and all that good stuff through Bene Gesserit and spice magic. And the Bene Gesserit are they're your basic, they're the OG space wizards, space witches. Before the Jedi or the Jedi Council were even thought of, your space witches, it was your Bene Gesserit. We can go in, and I know there's a lot of things I'm skipping, but if I make a 10-hour YouTube video, YouTube will probably not be happy with me, and there's no telling. And, most people won't want to watch a movie that long. I mean, this video is going to be pushing it as far as length, and I'm leaving a ton of crap out. And this is where we get into the speculation. This section is how I think we may play out with a part 3 and a maybe going into Children of Dune, God Emperor, Heretics, and Chapter House. Like I said, Villeneuve said he's going to do the first 2 books, that's it. Like I said, it makes enough money. The accountants want more of it. And depending on how Dune Prophecy works out, we may get a streaming series based on, the Children of Dune God Emperor Heretics Chapter House. We may get those as a streaming show, which if they were to do it and sit down, take their time, allocate the money, and do a cinematic quality show, probably Children of Dune, you could probably get away with 15, 16 one-hour shows. God Emperor Dune, about the same. I would say 10, 15 for God Emperor. Heretics, probably. Heretics. That would be a rough one. That one would be probably pushing almost 20 episodes. And the same with Chapter House. Because you what I would do, I mean, mind you, I have no training. This is just, I'm pulling this out of my backside, is take and do each one is, say, a 10 episode season. Do 2 seasons, maybe even 3 seasons. Do 3 seasons of 10 episodes for each of the remaining books. And like I said, allocate the money, spend the money on quality, spend the money on good directors, good cast. Because by the time you hit Children of Dune, you don't need Chalamet, you don't need Zendaya, you don't need any of your original movie cast by the time you get to Children. You've basically got a whole new thing there. You got a whole new cast of characters. And this would work. To me, that would be far better than trying to do them as movies. Because like I said, especially when you hit God Emperor of Dune, Herbert turned up the weirdness and he turned up the philosophy to 13, if not 300. I mean, it's weird, but there's a point to the weirdness. There's a point to the whole thing. And I think one of the things that makes the Villeneuve movies work and work real well is he didn't try to force Paul Atreides into the hero's journey. Though Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey is a good, sound format for storytelling. However, you can do its polar opposite, which is basically what the Dune books are, is the hero's journey turned 180 degrees. It's the mirror image. So basically it's a warning of be careful and trusting, charismatic, white, cisgender, heterosexual, pretty boys. And that is basically the story. And it gets into philosophy of religion versus science. Science being turned into religion, religion being turned into science, how unquestioned loyalty makes people stupid, how a good emperor will facilitate revolution in order to save his people and orchestrate their own death. And it's when you start playing all these out and you're trying to do it in a 1 or 2 3-hour movies, you're going to lose a lot of philosophy. You're going to lose a lot of what's going on. So yeah, I have a feeling if Dune Prophecy does really well when it streams, I think it starts streaming in October. Maybe September, but October. I am, because this is, like I said, these books, these 6 books are part of my childhood and they're ingrained in me. So I will probably do recaps and looking at Dune Prophecy when it starts airing. So yeah, it's looking forward to that. And like I said, this is kind of crazy. I did enjoy the movies. I don't know if I said that early in the video. I did enjoy the movies. Part of me enjoyed Villeneuve's changes, and like I said, the bibliophile part of me will go to his grave that way, hating it. But the rational, calm, intellectual part of me will go, okay, well, in order to get more Dune goodness, we got to make money, and we have to make changes to make money. So I think we'll go ahead and call this here, because we're pushing like 35, 36, 37 minutes on this video already. So until next time, be a good human, be good to other humans. Peace.